The concrete ghost. Arbitrage of the American skyline. New York in 2026 is not a city of people. It's a city of structures. If you look at the spires of Manhattan at night, you'll see that half the penthouses are dark. It's not because there's no one there. It's because these buildings aren't homes. They're safes. Deposit boxes made of concrete and glass, encased in money whose origins are best left undiscussed.
Most people think real estate is about location. They're wrong. Real estate is about liquidity and anonymity. In 22.6, a skyscraper is just a really big Bitcoin that can't be stolen with a single click if you set the right legal traps. I was standing in my office, looking at a model of a new complex in Miami. To the press, it was an eco-project of the future. To me, it was a giant filter for clearing out the $2 billion stuck in my partner's offshore accounts after the new FinCEN sanctions.
Buy, borrow, die. 2.0 scheme.
My method has never involved breaking the law. Why break the law when you can use it as a recipe for wealth? My favorite strategy is the triad: buy, borrow, die. The acquisition. We buy commercial real estate through a network of LLCs registered in Delaware. The owner is a Nevis trust. On paper, there is no owner. There is only an interest. The leverage. This is where the magic begins. Instead of selling the asset and paying capital gains tax, which in the US can eat up 30%, I go to the bank. I take out a loan using the building as collateral. The mathematics of power. Credit is not income. It is a debt. Taxes are not paid on debt. I receive cash in hand without paying a cent to the government. I live off the borrowed money while my asset appreciates in value, covering the interest on the loan. Die, the step up. Well, I don't plan to die, but my structures are eternal. In the US, there's a step up in basis. When an heir receives an asset, its tax base is reset to market value. All the taxes I underpaid over the past 30 years simply evaporate. The government forgives the debts of the dead, and I know how to make my companies legally dead and resurrect them under new names every Friday.
Breakfast with white collars.
A zoning inspector and a representative from the state pension fund sat at my desk. Eleanor, this Brooklyn property, it's valued at $40 million. How are you going to justify a $120 million loan? The inspector asked, nervously stirring his espresso. I smiled. It was the smile of a predator who knows the forest is already his. We don't justify the price of the past, Mark. We evaluate potential. My Hudson Void project will create 5,000 jobs on paper and attract investment, which will leverage through municipal bonds. We'll create a tax increment fund, TIF. The city will give me a 20-year tax break, and the bank will issue a loan against those breaks. I leaned forward. In the end, Mark, I'm building a building with money the city promises to forgive me in the future. I'm building out of thin air, and that thin air will become the most valuable asset in your portfolio.
Criminal arbitrage, empty lot scams.
In 2025, we mastered a new level of the game, empty lot fraud. This is the pinnacle of financial cynicism. We find abandoned industrial zones. Using frontmen and AI document generators, we create a plot ownership history dating back to the 1950s. Then we sell this plot among our own companies 5 times a week, raising the price by 15% each time. When the bank sees market dynamics, it's ready to issue a loan. We take the money and declare the owning company bankrupt. The plot is left to rot. The bank writes off the losses, and my money is already working in Dubai golf clubs. People complain about the lack of affordable housing. They don't understand. Housing only becomes affordable when no one wants it as a financial instrument. As long as a house in New York is a way to avoid taxes, it will never be a home for anyone. It will be a line in my registry.
Nevis, offshore finale.
This entire glass and concrete carousel in the US has one final stop, my terminal on the island of Nevis. Here, I've created a mirror reality. Every building in Miami or Chicago has its own digital twin in my private registry. We tokenize real estate debt. I sell shares in the loans of my own buildings to anonymous investors from all over the world. It's a perfect circle. Money emerges from the shadows, turns into bricks on Fifth Avenue, is cleaned by the American banking system, and returns to me as pure digital assets.
Infiltration. Pawn in a Brioni suit.
The FBI made a classic mistake. They sent someone too perfect. Marcus Thorne introduced himself as the head of a Singaporean family office, claiming a 15% stake in my new project. Skyline silence. His manners were impeccable, his biography polished to a shine by the best specialists at Quantico. But he smelled of fear and cheap cologne, which he tried to disguise with the scent of expensive cigars. I knew who he was even before he walked through the door of my office. My contacts at the National Security Agency, NSA, who receive my consulting fees, confirmed Thorne was Mark Anderson, the best operative in the Financial Crimes Unit. When a predator sees a trap, they have 2 options: avoid it or force the hunter to step into it. I always choose the latter. There's nothing more useful than an FBI agent who realizes his operational budget is now working for my offshore companies.
Checkmate at dinner.
We met at the Vault, a private club with reinforced concrete walls and acoustics that absorb any recording device frequencies. Thorne tried to play the big guy. Eleanor, my clients are ready to transfer $500 million in a tranche within a week, but we need guarantees that these funds won't be frozen by regulators, he said, trying to catch my eye. I slowly cut into the steak. Guarantees are expensive, Marcus, especially when the money smells of the US federal budget. He paused for a moment. The fork in his hand trembled. What are you talking about? Let's drop the pretense. I know that those $500 million are FBI funds allocated for a test buy. You want to trace the money back to Nevis, right? Thorn started to reach for his inside pocket, but I gently stopped his hand. No need. Your cover team in the van outside can't hear anything right now. I've activated a jammer that operates on your invisible communications frequencies, but I have a better offer than arresting you.
Operational complicity.
I placed the contract in front of him. It was a complex cross-asset ownership scheme. If you transfer this money as an investment, you'll lose. But if you run it through my escrow shield structure, it becomes legitimate income for my property management company. Here's how I got the FBI to partner with me. Layering. The FBI's operating funds are deposited into Thorne's shell company. Service purchasing. His company purchases consulting services from my firm at a price tenfold inflated. Laundering. This money becomes my net profit, on which I pay taxes. The FBI essentially financed my tax optimization. Trap. I forced Thorne to sign documents confirming that he knew about the questionable origin of the funds and knowingly took the risk for personal gain. I prepared a fake transfer to his personal account in the Cayman Islands. Now, Marcus, I whispered, if you go to your bosses, you won't bring them Eleanor Vance's head. You'll bring them an admission that you squandered $500 million in taxpayer money and became complicit in a money laundering scheme.
Financial paralysis of the system.
Thorne looked at the documents like they were his own death sentence. He realized I hadn't just hidden the money. I had ensured that its exposure would destroy the careers of his boss, the FBI director, and perhaps a couple of the senators who oversaw the Bureau's budget. That's the beauty of financial arbitrage. You don't fight the system. You make the system part of your crime. When the US government becomes your investor, it will do everything to keep you afloat. That night, the FBI not only didn't close my case, it became its main defender. Because no one wants to explain to Congress where $500 million went.